Hello, welcome back to Outlandish Claims, everyone. I'm here in my Juan Soto National World Series championship jersey for the first time ever, but of course with my Rays background, so conflicting interests. We've got Mr. Millz with his always 100% Yankified self. Millz, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's a day after the All-Star game, and I think as that happens,
That's hilarious.
and there you have it, folks. The title, a cat? Huh.
Well, let's jump right into the good stuff here. First of all, we'll run down Mr. Gio's thoughts on teams, and I'll ask your thoughts as well. And then after we get through all of his thoughts, well, all of the teams that he wanted to tell me about, we'll go with we'll go to your teams and anything else you found interesting. So his first comment was LOLOLOLOLOL Pirates. Explain to the good people why he mocks the pirate, or not mocks, but laughs at them derisively.
Well, first off, it's very easy to laugh at the Pirates, just in general, because they're the Pirates. Um, the reason why he's LOLOLOLOLOLOLOing is because they took Henry Davis, someone who was projected to go like mid first round. Maybe in some drafts, I happen to see him going a little bit later in the first round. They took him numero uno overall, number one catcher. And man, I mean, the pick value is like $10 million or something like that. And they gave it to a kid out of Louisville, Henry Davis. I'm guessing they're probably going to move him to first base in the long term. I think we were talking about that in our actual draft, like prep. Guys like Henry Davis and the catchers who are there right now, a lot of them have athleticism that they can move to a corner position like third or first base. But Henry Davis seems to project to be a catcher for the Pirates in the near future, which is very odd considering that they have Jacob Stallings. And I think that's really where Gio's LOL in all caps continuation will come into play. I think that's really his biggest part.
Well, next up on Gio's list of comments here, Mets came out like bandits, and you had one of the picks right on the nose. Fill in the good people. Did they make out like bandits? Gio thinks the Mets came out like bandits. Do you agree? Do you disagree, or what? Because you had conflicting thoughts about the pick. You thought he was really a great pick at number 10, but you also think he'd never make it to the major leagues. So
yeah, it's amazing. It is conflicting, and after thinking about it, I didn't really clarify what I meant by all of that. And it really is that his ceiling is so high. Kumar Rocker at pick number 10 is an absolute steal for the Mets. Considering their reputation with developing pitching over the last 10, 15 years, it's pretty solid. I mean, they got the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, Noah Syndergaard. They had Steven Matz for a while, right? Zach Wheeler, Matt Harvey's reign for a while here in New York. Like, that was very, very big for them. And they've proven that throughout their system, they can develop pretty decent pitching. I would say that the only organization that might be better at it is the Rays. And for a team like the Mets, who, if they really do consider Kumar Rocker's value to be as high as most people project, which is very, very high, and Gio's right on the money with this, is that it's a steal at 10 because of his ceiling and how far he can take it. But the biggest thing is making sure that his mechanics are in order with his pitch velocity. That is a major concern, obviously, for every pitcher, is mechanics being in line with your velocity and how much you're putting behind a pitch. But with Kumar Rocker, his stock fell because of that. And it really showed its ugly face in the College World Series, too. I believe that's really why his stock fell. I mean, he was ranked – it was supposed to be him and Leiter going 1 and 2 a year ago.
Another stud pick possibly for Baltimore, who had Adley Rutschman last year. They got Colton Cowser this year. Gio wanted to mention that one. And go on about Colton Cowser. Will he be part of the wave that rebrands Baltimore into what they were in the mid 2010s, or is it going to be another wasted pick? They're going to end up trading and he's going to end up going nowhere. Like,
No, I think Cowser is going to be a very, very good talent. He's going to be 21 years old, or he is 21 years old rather. Another fast track college player who's going to have a lot of ceiling, a high ceiling, and his athleticism is going to transition throughout any part of the field for the Orioles, whether it's the outfield like he was playing in college, or whether he moves to a corner position like third or first. Regardless, he's going to be a great asset to the Orioles. And I think Adley Rutschman and Colton Cowser, I'm going to go outlandish claim here a little bit. I think they make their major league debuts the same day, a lot like Aaron Judge. And
I was going to say, I can see that's something they'd probably build up to, honestly, with their last 2 draft picks. They would probably find a way to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot like Tyler Austin and Aaron Judge making their debuts the same day. I think that'd be really cool. And a lot of revitalization for the Orioles because for their fans, they kind of need something to look forward to.
His words here are the Dodgers could get the steal of the first round if they can improve on Maddox Bruns control. That is Bruns, not Burns. Thoughts on the Dodgers draft overall, but specifically, of course, on Bruns and what he brings to the table here. Do you agree, disagree, what?
At first, I thought this pick might be a little bit of a reach for the Dodgers because he was ranked in the 50s in a lot of draft. So I was thinking, no, they might be able to get him in the second round. But here we go. Dodgers didn't have a second round pick. I think it's the pick you have to make. If you think Maddox Bruns is going to be something that you can develop like what you did with Walker Buehler, and I think that's a really good comp for him inside that organization because they've done a great job with Buehler. And he's turned into an absolute stud in that rotation. Great number 2 behind Kershaw. Arguably should be number 1. Considering stuff-wise. But if they can continue to cultivate their starting pitchers like they did Dustin May, Walker Buehler, then they're in good shape with Bruns. I think they'll handle it very nicely. Dodgers low-key have really good draft picks continuously. And
yeah, you're welcome for that, Dodgers. You took Friedman from us. Thanks a lot, jackasses.
They've continuously had really good picks over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And
when did they get Friedman as their GM? Let's take a gander.
I don't know. Tell us, Adam. When did they get him?
5, 6, 7 years ago.
So that's going to be something to keep an eye on because the Dodgers have continuously picked very well and rarely missed over the last 7, 8 years.
Where would any team be without former Rays employees? Nowhere. Imagine they kept Madden and Friedman together. Imagine the Cubs didn't interfere and bribe Madden away. We all know what happened, Madden. You can stop lying. There's no point. I got to move on. Now your team.
My team.
The Yankees. Gio's words here. Trey Sweeney is a questionable pick for the Yankees. Agree, disagree, but of course this is the Yankees. So general thoughts on the Yankees draft overall. And please, in the name of Mike Edwards, be as brutal as necessary or as praise be as necessary, whichever way you need to go.
So I hated the pick. I hated the pick when they announced it. In the pre-draft stuff when we were talking about, I was thinking like Gunnar Hoglund might fall to them and that'd be a great pitcher pick. And I still think that if that was the opportunity, they probably would have went with Hoglund, considering how late he was on the board. I don't know why they didn't take a pitcher. I'm baffled by it. They must see something in Trey Sweeney that is going to be a quick rise to the majors, either at second or shortstop. It really makes me wonder if they're considering trading Gleyber Torres when his contract is up for some assets. And I think maybe they hope that he can boost up his value again, considering he's not had a great year, great last 2 seasons, really. And I kind of lean on that as being the biggest positive of this. He is an underrated bat. Trey Sweeney is an underrated bat coming out of Eastern Illinois. Gio and I were talking about it yesterday. He was hitting like over 360 in that conference. He really was doing work. And he had something like 48 RBIs, 40 or 50 RBIs. Kid was mashing. 14 homers too this season. And mind you, again, all these players that we're talking about here, they didn't have a season last year in 2020. So for them to continue either to build their stock up or reset their stock really, really says a lot. And I think they're gonna have to ride this wave out. A lot of these players in the first round are going to see the majors quicker than we think. And I'd say a bulk of them probably 2024. You know, I actually really like their later rounds. Brendan Beck in their second round pick out of Stanford is a very good pick, I think. He's going to project to be a very good, probably lower rotation, maybe mid rotation if they can fix their developmental cycle, because man, oh man, can they not develop pitching in the Yankee system. And then their third, fourth, fifth rounds have been, I'd say, average at best. I don't want to say that they're amazing. I don't want to say they're terrible either.
So we'll jump to other teams now that matter to one or most of us. Mets overall, how would you grade their draft?
I'd say from what I'm seeing, probably a C minus. Again, another middle of the pack team.
Now the teams I care about. First, we'll go with the one I'm wearing.
The big old Nets.
How'd they do?
Nationals, I would give actually B plus. I think the Nationals, considering all of the odds stacked against them regarding that, they took Brady House in the first round. Great shortstop out of high school. They're going to take some real time to develop him. Probably will be the successor to Trey Turner if they can't afford Trey Turner's contract. Dalen Lyle, another one, early to mid-second round, I think is going to be a fantastic outfielder. And then their third, fourth, fifth rounds, I'd probably go with the more average. So I'm going to say a B minus, B, somewhere in that range.
And then we got the team behind me. How'd they do?
Now this team, I think, suffered the most, to be honest with you, from their high picks. Couldn't get the first baseman, couldn't get a catcher. They were gone by the time they were up on the clock. Harry Ford, absolutely gone. Henry Davis, we spoke about already. So the Rays were in a little bit of trouble. They took a shortstop. I don't know why. That's very, very odd to me. That's a D-plus pick. Considering
the chances are probably they're going to move him to second. They'd probably train him for second.
Most likely. And it's crazy because they even had Joe Mack, Matthew Nelson on the board to take a catcher and move him to first base if they wanted. And they chose to go with a shortstop. I'm very, very surprised. They took a second baseman out of the Baylor schools, Cooper Kinney. I really got to give it to them here. I think D.
Good news is they actually can develop the players they draft. Problem is they can never draft first baseman or catchers, which is our problem. And they did nothing. So thank you.
This is one of the things that you got to kind of put an asterisk next to that D.
Yeah.
Because it's really about the player development team.
But as of the draft specifically, it's not a good decision. It's like, what do you need him for? But they could also move him to outfield. People get moved to the outfield all the time. There was a lot of talk about Trey Turner going to the outfield from shortstop because of that. Now they got Carter Keyboom, who now they're talking about moving Trey Turner or Keyboom out to the outfield in Washington. So you never know what could happen. I guess I'll wrap it up here by asking any other teams that you found stood out for all the right or wrong reasons in the draft.
Right reasons. Arizona Diamondbacks. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks actually had a pretty decent draft. I would actually give them a B+ on their draft. They took Jordan Lawler out of Jesuit College Prep, projected to go right into Double-A. At the moment, probably not going to, considering that the Diamondbacks probably want to take their rebuild or slight rebuild a little bit slower. Lawler is a great first-round pick. They're going to he's going to mash at the minor league level for sure. We'll see what he translates to when he gets to the majors. The Diamondbacks also had a great third-round pick in Jacob Steinmetz out of Elevate Baseball Academy. And that is obviously what it sounds like. It is a college, or I'm sorry.
So it's where you learn to be a waiter.
Yeah, you learn to be a waiter there.
Clown college.
Yeah, he's I think at 18 years old, that kid's ceiling is going to be through the roof. If he signs, he's going to go right to the Gulf Coast League, probably break single A within the first year, like Jason Dominguez has already. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on a number one prospect list in a couple of years. Probably he's going to be a really good asset for the Diamondbacks in the near future. Wrong reasons. Yeah, I kind of already talked about the Rays. Everybody else kind of had a mid-average draft. There were some surprises. The Mariners had a pretty decent draft too. You know what? No, I'm going to go for the Angels. The Angels have proven time and time and again that they just make awkward picks. Like, I don't know what they're thinking over there. Joe Adell, Mike Trout, great picks.
Jared Walsh, great pick too.
But when it comes to your first round picks over the last 10 years, a lot of them haven't really panned out the way that the Angels have hoped. So I'm kind of questioning the player development team and the draft, the scouting team out there in LA. I'm not even going to call it LA. I'm going to call it Anaheim. I give them a D- across the board. I didn't like their first round pick. I thought that was a little bit of a high pick. They had the 9th overall pick. They went 14th. I don't know why. With Kumar Rocker available at the 9th pick, why they didn't take him there?
The 9th pick, I think, especially for a team that honestly desperately needs pitchers.
Yeah, and pitchers immediately too, because Mike Trout's career is going to waste.
Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Jared Walsh is now the next one on the list.
Yeah,
maybe go nowhere. They got 3 great hitters, but when your pitchers are giving up more runs than those 3 can score, it's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for Joe Madden, who used to be the pitcher whisperer out at least in Tampa. With Theo Epstein, less so because they got Jake Arrieta and Hendricks and Lester. And they'd already established themselves as great pitchers, so there wasn't really any need to do anything. So what, did he fall out of practice when he got 3 great arms? And, I mean, look what he did with Yu Darvish. Darvish got so bad we thought he was awful. Now he's in San Diego. He looks like a Cy Young winner. So, I mean, did he lose his touch in the meantime when he had great pitchers and didn't need to develop them? I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yep.
But you know what? Honestly, good for you, Joe Madden. That's what you get for abandoning us. That will do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow with a NHL show recapping the rest of the NHL playoffs and, of course, outlandish claims for the future season coming up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.